Hi friends, it's Julia. I'm here today to share a layout that I created with my September 2020 Counterfeit Kit Challenge kit. Now, this kit was inspired by the Felicity Jane Shea collection that I had in my stash. I had originally purchased the paper pack and at some point went back and bought a bunch of the embellishments. It was before I subscribed to their kit. And I think as of September 2020, it's probably been right about a year. I think I started subscribing in October of 2019. So this came out right before, I think, September of 2019. So it was right before my subscription started. Anywho, um, when I was creating this kit, I pulled in tons and tons of embellishments of my own to go along with the embellishments that I had purchased as well as the paper. I added in quite a bit of my own. I had purchased quite a few pieces of paper from Hobby Lobby with the intent of fussy cutting or using as simple backgrounds. This wood grain that's behind the floral paper is one that I purchased. It's really thin paper. Can't be used as a background on its own because it's just too flimsy. I could, glue it down to cardstock and it would be fine, but just as a background on its own, it's way too thin. And so it's one of the ones that I opted to use as a background for my layout. And that floral paper is Felicity Jane and it's much heavier quality. But you'll see over to the left corner, there's a little iris box there that has tons of fussy cut flowers. And that's what I did. I purchased a lot of flowers, floral papers with the intent of fussy cutting them down to use them. The background on that floral paper was a cream color, didn't really match the feel of the kit at all, but when you fussy cut the flowers out, oh my gosh, they so matched. And I fussy cut everything out. You'll see on this layout, I'm using some pocket page cards as well as some pattern paper. The pink is actually paper from the Felicity Jane kit that I started with. It is double-sided, more of a purpley pink on one side and more of a corally pink on the other side. I'm using the corally pink color. And so that's a stripe paper from a leftover bit, as are those other solid color papers. And then, of course, a couple of pocket page cards. Now, when I started using this kit, one of the things that I did was I went over to the Felicity Jane blog for some inspiration. If you guys haven't been over there, oh my gosh, they just have tons of inspiration. They have all kinds of designers who come on nearly every day or every day, I don't know, and provide inspiration. And you can see traveler's notebooks, pocket page cards, crafting projects, not just scrapbook pages. So if you need a little inspiration, head over there. And so that's what I did. And I went to the search bar there and just typed in Shea, which is the collection that I started with. And one of the layouts or projects that popped up was by Lydia Cost, and it was from March 4, 2020. Now, if they use any piece of the Shea collection, whether it be an embellishment or anything, they put it in their notes so that it will spark that to pop up. And it could be one of the little asterisks, that was in this collection. It may be as simple as that, and there may not be any other piece of paper or embellishment from the Shea collection. So, I mean, even if you don't have specific Shea papers that you're working with, you can still garner so much inspiration over there. And you can see when I put that back down, I kind of put I did put my cards in the incorrect order at the top. I'll go back and fix that here in a few minutes. I'm pretty good about pulling things up. I have no qualms about it whatsoever. I pull things up all the time. If you guys if you've watched for any length of time, you know that. So I've got these fussy cut flowers here, and I have all different shapes of flowers, whether it be the full cluster of the flower or just a portion of it, because there were bits and pieces hanging off the edge of the page, and yes, I fussy cut those too. So everything gets added or gets saved to use for layouts, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of grouping them together so that I can use them as one on that layout. And you'll see how I finally get it together and down like I want it here in just a few minutes. Anywho, so I've used a ton of the flowers that I have fussy cut. And by the time I get to the end of my kit, I think I might have a couple of leaf clusters left that I cut from a different inspiration page that I purchased for fussy cutting. So yeah, I'm glad that I'm able to get some of these pocket page cards used up as well, because sometimes those can be tough for me to use. And I've been trying to challenge myself to use more of them. And I am, but I still have so many in my stash. I think next year I'm going to have to come up with a series of just pocket page cards. You can see there how I have fussy cut. One side of that is flat because it came from the edge of the paper. And you can actually see it was a 69-cent paper from Hobby Lobby. So yeah, I'm talking really cheap paper, but great for fussy cutting. That paper is like butter to cut through. So it was really fun to cut those images out. And again, I'm just kind of layering things to see how I want them to get the optimal presentation of the flowers. This layout, I just absolutely adore how it came together and the overall look of it. And here's where I realize I think that I have put my photo squares in the incorrect spots, or where I initially had wanted to place them. So I'm going to rip them up and place them back down. Of course, I'm probably the only person on the planet who ever rips up stuff once I've glued it down, right? Yeah, no. I think we all do that at some point. Anywho, I hope that these videos that I create are inspiring you to get into your stash and do something fun, whether it be create a card, create a layout, create a craft project, a pocket page, whatever it is that you want to do with your stash. I hope this inspires you to get in there and get some of it used up. I have a ton of supplies in my room that I have purchased over the years that I have just absolutely hung on to, that I refuse to give up because I absolutely adore the products that I purchased, and I don't want to get rid of them until I get them used up and into albums. Ever so often, I'll find something that I don't want to use anymore, but for the most part, yeah, no, whatever's in my room is stuff that I want to use. And I don't always have to have the newest, the latest, the greatest. But sometimes it's fun to play with the newer stuff. And for me, these Felicity Jane kits are newer. You can see I kind of skipped ahead here. My battery had run out, and so I'm just doing some additional embellishments. And I've got my floral cluster down on that top, and so I'm just going through and adding some additional little bits and pieces as I go around that I have left over to use. So I love being able to use Shay there on the layout. I think that's so cute that they create those paper dolls for you in the embellishment packs. And then, of course, I buy the stamp to go along because I love coloring those little paper dolls, and so do my granddaughters because they have the best time. These leaves are from the leaf. I had a page that had just leaves on it, and so I fussy cut tons of those out. And so here you see me go around and I add a leaf cluster to each layout, or each floral cluster on the layout, just to give it some a little additional color, if you will, like it needs more color, right? I do like I do embellish heavily, and a lot of people tell me, you know, when they look at my layouts, they not necessarily, nobody posts it online, I don't think, but I've been told in person many times that I'm a little bit, I embellish a little too heavy for their taste, and that's okay. Each to each their own. Um, you know, not everybody likes it when I use so many embellishments, but not everybody hates it either, because there's other people that I watch out there in YouTube land that embellish probably as heavily or more so than I do. But I'm always happy with my layouts, and when they're in the album and I'm flipping page to page, I think I do a, a fairly good job of keeping the focus on the photos and telling the stories, because for me that's the most important part. Now here I'm not going to do any journaling, because I have journaled on additional pages that I have created for the album about these photos and the girls playing dress up. So there's no need to continue to journal the same story on every single page when it's the same photos, and they're going to be side by side. I think I created 3 layouts for each album that they're going into. So yeah, it's been really fun creating these and getting the inspiration from the Felicity Jane blog. That's been the best part, I think, because I had been over there a couple of times off and on, but never consistently. Um, I still don't go over there consistently unless I'm looking for inspiration. And then I like scroll through their pages and it's like, holy moly, they have so much inspiration over there. Now I'm going to add on my finishing touches, and I do want to remind you that I have photos at the end, close-ups, so stay tuned for that. And like I said, I hope I've inspired you to get into your stash and create something. If you're inspired, or enjoy what you're seeing, I hope you will flip me a thumbs up. I appreciate that so much. It lets me know that you like what I'm doing. I don't get a whole lot of comments on my videos, so I really don't have an indicator if people like what they see or not. So yeah, if you like it, flip a thumbs up if you want to. If it's not mandatory. So yeah, if you want to subscribe and see layouts created from stash, older stash, please feel free to subscribe if you like. Anyway, guys, I will see you on the next video, and don't forget to stay tuned for the close-ups. Bye-bye.